You're always taking care of everyone else. But who's taking care of you? In today's episode, we're talking about why it's time to book that vacation, live a little bigger outside of early childhood education, out of your classroom, out of your program, and how travel can help you come back refreshed, re energized, and ready to slay. Self care is not selfish, it's survival. Welcome to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. I'm your host, Erica Saccoccio, and we are joined today with fellow educator, travel lover from West Palm Beach. I knew I was gonna say it wrong. Elsie? How do you say it?
Now,
Nelsie.
see.
Well, welcome to the show, sweetheart.
Mhm.
Tell folks a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Well, I go by the name of Nelsie Love. Of course, when I'm teaching, my name is Miss Wancy. I am a teacher here in West Palm Beach, Florida. I am an elementary school reading teacher. This year, I am teaching third grade, and I have the pleasure of moving up with them to fourth grade next year, and I'm very excited for that. And I do have some background working with special needs children, mostly in a clustered classroom with children with um, autism, disorder, not my disorder. I'm sorry, I don't want to say disorder, but they're on
Sure.
the spectrum and they have special needs. And I had paraprofessionals, I had RBTs, and it was such a blessing to work with them. And, as a new mom now myself, I realized I do need to take a break on the physical labor of work and the children. So now I'm working with just the gen ed students, and I'm teaching them all about reading and writing, and still taking those breaks for myself as
I love
well.
it. So let's start here. What was the moment you realized that you needed to travel more or you're going to burn out?
So definitely started last year with as my first year working with the special needs children, realizing, coming home to a young baby, I just needed that break. And it started really small. I started just in state, just traveling that hour down to Miami or that 3 hours to Orlando. Those were the best times because Orlando have the best theme parks, and it was a chance for me just to be a big kid again, and to take my little one with me and get her to experience outside too. She's in daycare as well, and I feel like she needed that break as well. And it was definitely a game changer for me once I realized I do need to take a little bit more breaks than just waiting for school to be out for the holiday season.
Yeah, for me, well, this for folks who listen to my show a lot, I had a really big sorry, I had a really big thing that happened to me. I was on the playground at my childcare center, and I had just gotten over COVID, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And I have asthma, and so if I get something in my lungs, like today, um, I'll have it for weeks and weeks. And I felt like I was gonna either have, I wasn't sure if I was having a panic attack, an asthma attack, or a heart attack. And I was like, I have to take a break. And so it was really life changing. I did some things that I never did before. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get through the show. But taking a trip saved my life. It really, really did. And I'm hoping that as folks listen to this episode, that they're not going to wait till they're literally thinking that, oh my God, do I need to call 911? And I know it sounds dramatic, but no, that was really true. I really was at a point where considering, like, am I going to drop dead on this playground, or should I call an ambulance? So, your travel has taken a big part of my life in the last year and a half. Well, let's get to this, because this is true for me, as a educator of 26 years. But why do you think so many educators feel guilty about taking time off or leaving the classroom or their centers, even if it's just a few days? Why do you think that is?
I do believe that us as teachers do create that special bond with children in the classroom. And it's kind of like we're their school mom, and even me, when I feel like I'm not there, I feel like nobody else can handle or deal with the kids the way I do. You don't know the child, the substitute doesn't know the student. They just know their name and, give them this work, but they don't know that this child probably has like, a bladder issue or maybe ADHD and just need some time to kind of just stand in the calm down corner for a little bit, do some jumping jacks. So when outsiders come in, I kind of do feel some of that guilt, like, okay, my babies don't have me today. They don't have me for these field days. And also another thing could be the staff shortage. It does. I understand, like, it does affect the other staff members when teachers aren't here, because now
Mm,
they have to step out of their office to watch our class, and it goes again to the same thing as a substitute. They don't know the children the way we do. So maybe their whatever they're feeling might push on to onto us, and that passive aggressiveness, like, oh, you're out
mm.
again, or did you use sub plans this time, or it wasn't enough, just sprinkling some negativity to make us feel like, well, maybe things are better if I'm just here, because it seems like when I'm
Hmm.
not here, it's chaos. So I think all of those feelings do play a role in that guiltness of
Yeah, I think
calling
those are
out.
all really valid points, and you're right. And for those of us in the childcare field, we definitely, when you're talking about staffing shortages, gotta be feeling that. And then also, yeah, you're right. Like, if I leave, like, what's going to happen is, are people going to call out, and then what does that mean for my team? But I also think in education there is this, like, I hate to say it, but a little bit of like a martyr mindset, like, oh, it's almost like it's like a badge of honor if you, like, work yourself to the bone, right? Like, you're supposed to feel
Yeah.
bad if you take that vacation time.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of other fields are not like that, right? But ours is, like you said, like, if you take a couple days, the whole team is like, oh, well, it must be nice, or you were out, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think there is kind of this connotation that we're supposed to be everything for everyone at all times in our field. So I think we do need to
Mhm.
continue to kind of set some boundaries and claim that space. One of the things I think too is, let me ask you this, because you have already traveled quite a bit. What have you noticed about traveling, how it impacts the way that you do show up for work, for your team, for your students, or even your creativity?
So one thing for sure, I do feel rejuvenized. I feel like I have a lot more energy to do to work with the kids, and as I'm out and I speak about my work field, people want to know, who you are, what do you do, and from their perspective, they do appreciate and love teachers. Like, we need you, we need teachers, and especially kind teachers, and I'm pretty sure the kids are having a wonderful time with you. So it makes me remember, or kind of just remind myself why I'm in this field anyways, because in the midst of it I do get lost with the purpose. So when I do step out and strangers are telling me, keep it up, we need you guys, I come back and I have a different perspective now. Now I'm feeling better about, why I'm here today. And I look at the children and I'm just like, okay, we're going to
Mm,
start fresh. We're going to start over. It's a new year for us, even though it's a Tuesday in the middle of April, but we're going to start fresh. And, we're going to finish strong. Started strong.
yeah.
We're going to
I
finish
feel like
strong.
when I came back from Arizona, I came back a whole different leader. And people noticed almost immediately how significantly I changed. And it seemed so funny. I was only away for like 7 or 8 days. And I totally had this mind shift change that never went back, because I really had been to a point where everybody and everything was first, before me, before me, before me. And I have a big heart, and I'm Italian. It's my culture. I love on everybody. And that's still true. That's still definitely my personality. But I have carved out more time for myself. I have said no more now than I have ever said in probably my 50 something years being alive. I say no to things. And when you say no to things, it also allows you to say yes to things. So I'm only saying yes to the things that I really enjoy, and traveling and packing my bags is definitely one of them. I think I last month spent 3 out of the 4 weekends in Florida, where you live. 3 out of 4. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
I love
Well,
Florida. I love Florida. And you're right. It's such a great state. There's so many places to go. And like you said, you don't have to break the bank. Like, you can just start local, right? You can I live in Rhode Island. We have beautiful coastal areas. We have Newport. We have lots of great things that I could do literally around the corner. I don't have to jet set everywhere. Um, so I think it's important, like you said, taking those small breaks that you can do. We're coming up on a long weekend, right? Plan yourself some time, do something fun, because here's what we normally do, right? It'll be like, oh, it's a long weekend. I can get caught up on my lesson planning, or I can go in, right? This was me for the first 18 years that I owned a center. Oh, it's a long weekend. I can go in, change the rooms around, do my steam cleaning, change the boards, change the front from spring to summer, and then everybody would come back so refreshed, and I would be exhausted after a 3-day weekend. And people are like, why are you tired? I'm like, because I just worked 90 hours in 3 days. So, it's a
Yeah.
lesson I had to learn very much the hard way. So, yeah, what,
Yeah.
is there,
Can
go
I
ahead, hon.
piggyback? I'm sorry. What you were saying about your health and saying no, that kind of reminded me of my first year teaching last year. I was brand new, so I said yes to everything, not realizing that it was affecting my health. I think I went to the doctor maybe twice for pain in my body, just for them to tell me the same thing, it's
Yeah.
stress related. And I realized, okay, I have to start saying no to things. I have to stop staying after hours to plan and plan and plan. And, you know, um, I took a lot upon myself, writing the IEP goals and dealing with parents and behaviors and interventionists and coming home to my baby. And I felt like I wasn't taking as many breaks as I should, especially with the guilt
Yeah.
as well. So emotionally, physically, saying yes to everything, yet it does affect um, your teaching habits a lot.
Yeah. So we've both done trips that recharged our mindset. What's one destination that really helped you reset mentally or emotionally?
So we took a trip to California, actually. It was me and my family. And it definitely was a reset. It was getting out of the state for the first, you know, I won't say the first time, but as a first step to leaving the country. I haven't left the country as of yet. But California was way on the other side. So it was something new to me. The people were new, the activities were new, but it felt nice to kind of be in a new
Mm,
world and realize, there's so much more out here to see. There's so many different types of people. And, I had to get out of my little box that I was in at home. And, it really was rejuvenating going all across the state like
yeah.
that.
For me, it was Arizona. I think there's something magical about the sun on the West Coast. It's a different kind of sun. I know that sounds silly, but it is a whole different feel. And for me, yeah, it was Arizona. I went to Carefree, Arizona. Well, I went to a resort called Havana. Um, it was amazing. And I did so many things that I never did before. I did a sound bath. I walked the labyrinth with no shoes. It was just
Yeah.
picturesque. The sunset was, yeah, I mean, Key West has beautiful sunsets, but the sunsets in Arizona are like fuchsia. They're like,
Oh,
here's color. They're like a fuchsia pink,
oh,
gorgeous. And I guess it's
wow.
because of the dust from the red rocks or whatever is in the air, and then the sun beams through it, and it's like astonishing. Um, and and
Oh,
the other
that's
thing too, you had talked about a family trip. I think this trip was different for me because I've done so many family trips. It was the first trip I booked that I went by myself. I got on a plane by myself, flew across the country by myself. I unplugged. I never turned on my phone. I never turned on a
wow.
TV. I never turned on a radio for 7 days.
Um,
I did turn on a laptop because
wow.
I wrote a chapter in a book that got published. Um, and so yeah, so a
Not
lot of
really.
things really that was a turning point in my life for sure. Um, yeah, so you'll know when you find that place that really feeds your spirit, your soul. You'll know it when you find it, but you won't find it if you never go, if you never book yourself somewhere.
Yeah.
So people
That,
always say like, I can't afford to travel. Do you have any go to tips for traveling for on an educator's budget?
So in your state, like I don't know if about in the other states, but I know Florida do resident deals a lot, especially with the Orlando theme parks. They do Florida resident deals, and they also have teacher discounts. We have many different zoos, museums, different theme parks that do give teacher discounts. So, especially Teacher Appreciation Week is a good week to look at trips as well because they do want to, businesses do want to appreciate teachers by offering that discount for them. Um, and of course, just, partnering up with someone and splitting the cost and planning ahead. You don't want to travel on spring break, of course, because everybody is going to be everywhere. So they're raising the prices. They know when teachers are
Mm,
out. They know when school is out. So planning your trips when school is actually in session
yeah.
is a good idea.
Also, off-season travel, as you said, educated discounts. Um, the other thing I think too is we all have credit cards and we all use them. Use your credit cards to earn you points. I cannot tell you how many times I've been able to fly for next to nothing or stay at a hotel. Like if you stay at a hotel, especially the bigger chains, become a member of their membership places because then you get bonus points when you stay at like Hilton or Marriott. Um, and then you accumulate points and then you get free rooms. So there's lots of opportunities to do that. And if you own your own childcare center, there's a good chance that you're doing things like putting gas in vehicles or things that you can pay with a credit card that you're already going to pay for. Pay with a credit card and then just pay your card at the end of the month, and you're going to get so many points to travel
Mhm.
for free. Or maybe you can send some of your team to places too. Um, Let's talk about travel and mental health. Like, how does getting away help decompress from consistent uh, stress that we have in this field?
I think that just decluttering our mind a little bit will open up more space for that calmness and peace to kind of get in because I would say peace is around us. We can find it. It really just takes us having that action of quieting our mind, taking us from one place to another place, getting out of our comfort zone as well. And, being more open to the world and just seeing, okay, what do you like? Do you like nature? Go to a nature park and just soak in, like you said, unplug, soak in nature. I think that's the number one free way to find peace and joy because just listening to birds and, the trees and the wind and just being unplugged from the world does help your mental health and it helps you think. It helps you, um, you know, remember things that you probably forgot about or plan ahead. You have time to talk to yourself and, get back to your center, which is something that every teacher, I feel like we could work on that too. When we lose ourselves in teaching and with the kids and work and
Mm,
bills, and we have to come back to our center and realize, who were we when we graduated college and we were ready for the field, and then we got sucked in and now we're just teaching in home. So we have to get back to that college graduate who's so
mm.
excited to be in the world and, be in the corporate. So, coming back to who we are and taking that space, that moment to just get out of our comfort zone will definitely help us get back to who we
Yeah.
are, and it does help our mental
Yeah, I
health.
feel like it's a great stress buster all the way around. And you can help it based on where you go. So sorry. Um, Based on where you
It's
go,
okay.
like you could go, hiking. That and once you move physically, that really helps your brain. It clears out your brain, like you said. Or you could sit at a dock and go fishing, or you could lounge in a hammock and read a great book. Like there's so many things you can do, but I think it's like anything else. It's that consistency. So be mindful of it. Not every weekend are you going to jet set to Florida. Although, thank the Lord, I am very blessed to be able to do that. But I know that not everybody can, right? Um, But you can go to the park. You can, go to the next state over. I'm lucky I live in New England. We have so many beautiful places. We have New Hampshire, we have Maine, like we have so many gorgeous places. I think no matter where you live, you can live in the middle of the country and there's still beautiful places. Go to the state
Yeah.
next door. That doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It's a tank of gas and a hotel for a night or two. Um, but do it, definitely do it. I think, when you do it consistently, it's really going to help you stay at a point where you feel happy and you're still connected and into your why. So, have you ever come back from a trip and felt maybe more patient or even inspired or just playing better in the classroom?
Yes. So a lot of when I do feel that, it's from the trips that I take on, kind of the next city over, Miami, and I go on the boat and we
Mm.
ride in the ocean. It's very soothing. So when I do come back, I'm very peaceful. When I take those exciting trips, I come back and I kind of feel like I'm tired because I've been walking all day, or, and I come to work and I'm standing all day. So those boat trips, those relaxing trips that I take on the water, just a weekend, and you get a hotel, and you have breakfast in bed, and there's just nothing to do, So when you come back and you do have a lot of work to do, you're kind of approaching it in a more peaceful way because you had such a long break to have nothing. So now you can come back and you're clear minded and you're just
Yeah.
ready to work. It's the
It's so
ocean. So
funny, and it's crazy how people can go to the same places and take something different back. So I'm laughing, I'm smiling here as you said, take a boat ride in Miami. And I'm thinking every time I've gone to Miami on the boat and they take me to like the Millionaires Row, I come back like, let's get it. I'm like ready to grind. I'm like, how many more podcasts am I gonna do? What am I gonna do to get myself up to that level? Like I come back so inspired. Just seeing like those houses, like the lady who owns Wendy's hamburger place. I'm like, that lady has that house from selling hamburgers. Like, get going, Erica. I come back so inspired every time I take a little boat ride. It is peaceful, but I come back very like very amped, ready to go.
motivated.
Let's grind. ET all day. Yeah. So it is interesting, and everybody's going to take something different from places that they go, but make it your own. So okay, as we start to wrap up, dream scenario. You're planning a teacher soul recharge trip. Where are you going? What are you doing? And how are you showing up for yourself? We want to know, like, I want to visualize it. We want to dream with you.
Oh, okay. So if I were to travel solo to my dream vacation, it would be to Hawaii. I absolutely adore Hawaii. I want to go there and I just want to have the whole experience. I want the luau. I want the ocean view. I want to see the dolphins. I want to see all these water animals that we're allowed to see. Um, I want to wear that flower in my hair. I want to wear that skirt, and I want to just be around happy people. I feel like Hawaiians are very happy and they're so peaceful, and just surrounding myself with that amount of positivity would just linger onto me, and I just will feed off of it and I'll just continue it with the
Yes,
children.
I love to go to Hawaii. That's definitely on my bucket list. I would say for me, anywhere that's the rainforest, although that seems very dangerous because there's lots of critters there and snakes and all kinds of wild things. I really have never been to a place that was that tropical. So for me, it would be definitely a rainforest type of experience. Um, Nowhere particular, just being in the woods,
That's
in the
beautiful.
jungle, in a tiki hut. All that sounds really cool to me. Um, so what's your advice to an educator who says, I can't leave, everything will fall apart if I'm not there?
So the first step that you should take is write it down in your planner. I think writing it down in your planner speaks volumes, speaks to you, and it lets you know, hey, I'm planning this no matter what. And as time gets closer, you start to get more excited. Once you see it on your calendar, it it's like you forget that you put it there. It's like somebody else put it there. Like, hey, you have a trip coming up. Now you're getting excited. Like all those other feelings of the guilt and oh my gosh, they'll kind of minimize a little bit. They'll quiet down. Now you just have excitement for this event and research it. Look at pictures and imagine that you are really there. You pick the destination, go on Google, and start planning, look at pictures, look at the food that they have to offer, the activities that they have. Now you're gaining that excitement and you're looking at it at your planner. Now you're telling yourself, there's no ands, ifs, or buts. I'm going to make it here and I'm going to go, I'm going to have a good time. So that pep talk and knowing that you're going to have a good time and believing for it will surpass all the other feelings that you might be feeling, and it would be a
Yeah,
lot
I think
better.
we need to let go of the need to control everything and build a strong system for time off. Like, make sure you have adequate subs, make sure the lesson plans and all the things that they need are there. Make sure you prep your children and your parents. Do all the things, make yourself a checklist because that will also help alleviate some of that feeling that you're going to put on yourself of, oh my gosh, what if something happens? You've prepared people as much as you humanly can. So you don't feel like you just like took off on them, right? You did all the preparation, you gave everybody ample time, all those things and in
Yeah.
place.
As a teacher, we're always planning anyway. So just plan a
Mhm.
vacation. And
So what would you
great.
say to the version of yourself who used to skip vacations or think travel was selfish? What would you say to that girl?
I would say that you're putting yourself last and you're actually harming yourself than helping yourself. If I were to think like that, I would have said yes
Yeah.
sooner.
I think to me, if you really truly love giving to others, you have to understand you got to give to yourself first. I learned trust me, I am an old lady. You have to learn um you have to learn these things and then once you do, you have to put them in place. So you cannot be a great teacher, educator, leader if you're running on empty. I know you hear it, but I think you need to hear it again because we still continue to do it. So to all the educators that are out there, please book that trip. With that being said, we are rolling into a long weekend. I am also, tomorrow is my 22nd, 21st anniversary with my husband. We are going somewhere, and right now, I don't know where we're going, but I am booking a trip to somewhere tonight. Not sure yet. I'm leaning towards West Coast. So I think we might end up that way. But if not, we'll end up in Florida, I bet. Either West Coast or Florida, that's where we're going to go. So thank you so much to all of our listeners. Thank you for being such a great guest. You are tuned into the Child Care Directors Chair podcast. Again, if you just joining us for the first time, hit that follow button. We'd love for you to come back. And if you're one of our loyal listeners who tunes in day after day, I love you. That's all for today. Have a great night. Bye.